The year was 2008. I was 16. YouTube was only 3 years old. I'm pretty sure. One day I was just boredly scrolling through videos, and then something specific popped up. And it wasn't my usual Potter Puppet Pals or musical theater blooper compilation. It was this grainy, primitive screen recording of a TV show, probably titled something like The L Word, Tibet Scene, Season 5. I don't know why it showed up to me that day, but it caught my eye. So I clicked, and this is what I saw.
Ben, turn around.
This scene is halfway through the 5th season of a TV show I'd never seen before in my life, in the middle of some random episode, no context, no backstory known to me whatsoever, and within 5 seconds I was 1000% invested in this couple. To this day, that specific scene is just imprinted into my brain, like every single detail. The bougie kitchen, the plush king bed, the weather, the Joan Armatrading song in the background, Jennifer Beals' eyes. I'd never seen anything like it before. And that's how I discovered the existence of The L Word. Created by Eileen Chaikin, The L Word premiered on Showtime in January 2004. The show was groundbreaking because it was the first television show to ever feature an entirely lesbian and bisexual main cast. Over the course of its 6 seasons, some might say about 3 too many, the show would eventually jump the shark pretty hard. But the characters were so lovable and attractive. Their group dynamic was so beautiful, and all their individual relationships were so interesting and complex. We'd have watched these women do literally anything. The show briefly aired concurrently with the last season of Showtime's adaptation of Queer as Folk. Both shows were notable for their explicit gay and lesbian sex scenes that weren't choreographed for heterosexual consumption. Now that I think of it, both of those shows had their own version of the endlessly on-again, off-again couple that drove us all insane. Both Queer as Folk and The L Word would each see their own reboots years after the final seasons aired. But the magic of the originals could never be recreated. Let's be really real. The L Word Generation Q does not measure up to the original The L Word in any way whatsoever. Which is why I'm so upset that today's baby dykes don't get to have what I grew up with. I mean, I got to have my sexual awakening with characters like Bette Porter, Tina Kennard, Alice Piasecki, Shane McCutcheon, and then Gen Z gets to have... Finley? Oh god. Oh, fuck! They didn't even get a good theme song. We got to have this.
Talking, laughing, loving, breathing, fighting, fucking, crying, drinking, writing, winning, losing, cheating, kissing, thinking, dreaming.
And the L Word gave us so many catchphrases. I still want "fuck you, Don Denbo" on a t-shirt. And do you remember the episode recaps on After Ellen? Do you remember After Ellen? Kids these days will never get to experience what it was like having the episodes come out and then the recaps in real time.
So, as I was editing that segment, I realized what a deranged-ass boomer I was making myself sound. I'm so sorry about that. Please forgive me or roast me, do what you must. But also, I know a few of you out there are probably thinking to yourselves, but Ariel, After Ellen, still exists, and they still did episode recaps with Generation Q. And on top of that, I could even live tweet the experience on Twitter. And all I have to say to that is that it doesn't count.
So that's the main reason why I felt the call to do a little retrospective on the series, starting with the 2-part pilot. You girls need to know what you missed. And since I am over the age of 25, I officially qualify as a queer elder, and I am more than happy to be your elder guide. Anyway, now that I've taken my osteoporosis medication, let's hop to it. Part 1 of the pilot kicks off the way any good TV show kicks off, with all our characters waking up in the morning. First, we meet Tina Kennard and Bette Porter, played by Laurel Holloman and Jennifer Beals. First thing you should know about them is that they're the perfect picture of suburban lesbian partnership, loyalty, and longevity. Also, they're my girls from the first clip that I just showed you guys. Let's see how we get from here to there. Side note, Jennifer Beals is to this day one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And I know I'm not alone in this. Bette was a fan favorite in spite of her many, many fatal flaws. Anyway, Bette's the director of the California Arts Center. Tina recently quit her job as a development executive. And today, Tina finds out that she's ovulating, which is great news, since she and Bette are getting ready to have their first baby together. It's a very sweet, private moment between these two. Let's hope it never gets cheapened in cringy independent movie form or anything like that. That would suck. After that, the two of them catch their neighbor, Tim, played by Eric Mabius, on their way out. He's doing something important today, too. Then we get our first look at the Planet Cafe, the hub for lesbian day life and nightlife in fictional West Hollywood. And we're going to spend a lot of time here throughout the series. The planet is currently owned by Marina, played by Karina Lombard. She's Italian, and she speaks mainly in innuendos. She serves a shot of espresso to Shane McCutcheon. She's played by Catherine Monig, and according to everyone, she's got every vagina in town wrapped around her little finger. We also meet Alice Piasecki, played by Leisha Haley, a bisexual writer for LA Magazine who happens to know every move every sapphic lifestyler makes in the entire city, because she records them all and posts them online. Yeah, seriously. She's there with her best friend Dana Fairbanks, played by Erin Daniels, a famous yet deeply closeted professional tennis player who hangs out at lesbian hotspots with open lesbians in broad daylight all the time. Yeah, her secret's safe. Basically, Dana's whole thing at first is that she's deeply closeted and she's got absolutely no game. Bette and Tina arrive and everyone talks about what an amazing couple they are. We then cut to a bus stop where Jenny Schechter is waiting. She's played by Mia Kirshner, who most heterosexuals these days probably recognize from Vampire Diaries. I actually found out she was in that show by watching Jenny Nicholson's Vampire Diaries video. And while I'm a big fan of Jenny, her take on Mia's acting kind of blew me away for a second.
Because I just can't get around this performance.
Since I was last here, I've been doing everything possible to find Klaus. We knew our best chance was to find him before he could find you.
I don't understand how it's so bad.
Oh, Jenny, you'd think with a name like that you'd be on Mia's side here. No, I'm kidding. I get it. You just didn't know. Mia's style might not have been a great fit for a CW teen vampire show, but nobody else in the world could have played Jenny Schechter. While Jenny as a character is extremely controversial in the L Word fandom, it feels a little weird calling it a fandom, huh? Mia Kirshner's performance is just about universally beloved. She has such unusual mannerisms, but somehow they make total sense for Jenny's character. And watching this woman evolve over the course of 6 seasons is like getting on a roller coaster. Because you start out liking Jenny, then you love her, then you hate her, then suddenly she's this total badass feminist icon, then you hate her again, then you get so confused you start to think you are her. I literally showed my straight friend a video compilation of Jenny just screaming.
Change your fucking tie.
Go fuck yourself.
So fucking what? No fucking way.
No! Okay, you get the fuck off my side.
And he fell in love with her. Maybe that's the video idea. I go out into the street and I show random heterosexuals clips of Jenny Schechter. We can do a count of who falls in love with her and who ends up more homophobic. Anyway, Jenny is in LA to move in with her long-term boyfriend, Tim the neighbor, and also to finish writing her next novel and have lots of explosive existential crises in the little cottagecore shack in Tim's backyard. We cut to Tina at her therapist's office. His name is Dan Foxworthy. He's like this celebrity psychologist kind of guy. Bette arrives late to the appointment, yapping into her earpiece like a total flip phone douchebag. I forgot that these two are already in couples therapy right when the show starts. Oh boy. Dr. Dan Foxworthy questions if the couple's ready for a child if their sex life has sucked for years, so Bette decides that therapy is a lesbophobic scam. Session over. Tim picks Jenny up at the bus stop, and she is very impressed by the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, can we go?
They make out at a green light, angering all the Vampire Diaries fans in the line behind them. Act like a real person! Back to Bette and Tina. With the awareness of Tina's bubbling ovaries, they get right on that shit and visit one of Bette's artist friends to get a sperm sample. Apparently this is something he does all the time.
Don't worry, I do this all the time.
They awkwardly stand there watching his shadow puppet jerk off. On the way home, Bette gets on the phone with a work colleague to announce,
Hey, listen, this'll lighten your load. Guess what Tina has between her legs? A jar of Sean Haney sperm. God, it's repugnant. I can't believe I used to swallow that stuff.
Now settled into her new home, Jenny immediately finds a prime vantage point to lurk into Bette and Tina's yard, where she witnesses Shane break in with a random girl and have sex in the pool. Jenny is not sure how to take this. But she doesn't look away. Bette and Tina are already at the fertility clinic. The doctor suggests the two of them get it on a little right there on the table because apparently the sperm will take better if Tina's aroused. Tina implores Bette to get under the hood, but Bette can't take it seriously. She makes an attempt, but the doctor busts back in unexpectedly with pretty bad news. Unfortunately, Shadow Puppet's sperm isn't very hardy, and the two will have to try again with some better, brighter swimmers. What the hell, man? I thought you said you do this all the time.
I do this all the time.
Cut to Jenny. She's at a local grocery store, and she asks about a job opening. Thrilling. Now we're back at the planet. Tina gives Dana and Alice the bad news re the shadow sperm. This is how we find out Alice has slept with this guy, and Dana is openly biphobic in response.
When are you gonna make up your mind between dick and pussy?
Because back then we had the right to gatekeep. I'm kidding. For real, the handling of Alice's bisexuality in this show is often critiqued by bisexual fans/detractors, mainly because at one point she just stops showing any interest in men. I'm pretty sure she even says somewhere along the line that she's grown out of being with men or something. And I get that I'm not bi, and so I don't actually get a say here, but something about that critique has always made me go, Probably because I've never heard the opposite of that complaint before. It makes it seem like good bisexual representation can include women who only casually get with other women, but have real relationships with men, but it can never be the other way around. Now all these dykes have 2 days to put their heads together and lock down a single good drop of sperm in Los Angeles before Tina's egg swirls down the drain. That night, Jenny tells Tim about how she saw 2 women getting it on in the neighbor's pool. Thinking she's talking about his friends, Bet and Tina, he instantly gets horned up and imagines the couple while he rails Jenny. I hate when men are like this.
The tough, skinny one takes the blonde, vampy one.
Like this.
That's right, Tim. They pulled out their penises and fucked each other's vaginas. You got it. The next day, Tim's at work coaching the university swim team. One of the students hits on him. Who cares? Our girls are back at the planet. Alice pitches a sperm donor party to Bet and Tina. They're going to round up all the eligible men they know.
Oh yeah, that's right, all 2 of them.
And then the couple will be free to browse and pick the perfect match. Bet isn't into it. She leaves Tina and Alice to lecture Dana on developing her bush confidence.
If you don't have bush confidence, you won't feel good about your bush. And you'll never get laid.
I forgot how many iconic terms were born in just the first episode. All the cool kids used to know what bush confidence was. It needs to make a comeback. Jenny goes back to the fence to see if anyone's having sex today. Nobody is, but Tina's out there picking rosemary from her garden. She and Jenny get to know each other better, with Tina blowing Jenny's mind when she tells her she's going to get pregnant, even though she and Bet are both girls. Then Tina invites Jenny and Tim to the sperm donor party. Not to donate sperm, obviously. Bet doesn't want her kid coming out wearing like a Speedo or whatever it is Tim does. That night, a police officer pulls over this muscle car downtown. The driver is Kit Porter, played by the legendary Pam Grier, and also the best character in the show. I know maybe that's a controversial thing to say about the only straight character in the show about lesbians, but if we see this series through to the end, you will get me, I promise. Unfortunately, Kit doesn't have a valid license for some reason, and this traffic stop is keeping her from her first paid gig in over a year. The sperm donor party is kicking off at Bet and Tina's. This girl Lacey goes to Shane and asks why she hasn't called her. Shane bullshits an excuse, but Lacey sees right through it and unloads onto Jenny right outside the door.
You have to tell Shane that that's just not right.
Everyone introduces themselves to Tim and Jenny. The guests are talking about finger lengths and how they correlate to lesbianism. Jenny's index and ring fingers are the exact same length, so Alice suggests she might be bisexual. Spoiler alert, she's not. They're going to keep dredging up this uncertainty throughout the series, and honestly, I don't really understand why. Like, to me, it seems obvious where Jenny stands, but again, we'll get there. Back with Kit, she manages to get let go by the police officer by hooking him up with a Neville Brothers concert. Good thinking, Kit. At the party, Jenny finally notices that she's just surrounded by lesbians. Bet and Tina talk to this guy, Simon, about being their donor, but he's really not down with the idea. Why'd he show up? I guess nobody told these potential donor candidates that they were potential donor candidates. Jenny tells Alice about her book, which she says is a story about her own alter ego named Sarah Schuster. Marina from the planet arrives, and Alice introduces her to Jenny. There's a noticeable spark between the two as they talk literature.
Wow.
When Jenny goes to the bathroom, Marina follows her. They kiss, but Jenny gets spooked and runs to get Tim. Meanwhile, Kit shows up to the party. Turns out she's Bet's half-sister, but Bet doesn't exactly look thrilled to see her there. Jenny makes Tim come home early, and so as to cleanse herself of her new sexual confusion, she initiates some heterosex with Tim. I think this was actually the first depiction of straight oral I'd ever seen before in my life, and it makes it look terrible. I could not believe that men sounded like that in any context. Yeah, this show's not good penis PR. What did you expect? The next day, Tim finds Jenny sleeping in her writing shack. As he asks her what upset her so much last night, he sticks a hand up her shirt and gropes her. Time and place, Tim. Meanwhile, Tina and Dana go to a spin class together. Tina complains that even after the party, she and Bet still haven't found a donor. Dana has her eyes on their spin instructor, but she says in her predictable Dana way,
She's straight. How do you know? Because I'm so attracted to her.
Later, Jenny and Tina bump into each other again, this time at the Planet. Tina invites Jenny to join the girls again for coffee, and then they also invite her to another event at the Planet that night. These group scenes at the beginning of the series are so nice because that's before all the drama kicks in. It's like, wow, remember when everybody loved Jenny? Those were the days. Jenny is obviously smitten with Marina. She doesn't want to be, but already she can't even with any confidence say that she's not gay.
I came here to say that I'm not.
A big coffee drinker?
Now Bet and Tina are running out of time until Tina's implanted egg dies. They desperately go to this French artist guy who's nothing like Simon from last night. He is so ready for this contract. But
you want to do this here in my bed? Oh.
It turns out he thinks he's about to have sex with them. Like naked and gross style.
Hey, the penis, the pussy, the baby.
But Bet and Tina aren't that desperate. Yet. Jenny arrives at the Planet party that night, and Shane cockblocks Dana. The others put their heads together to figure out what it is about Shane that brings all the girls to the yard. Or to Bet and Tina's pool when they're out sperm shopping. This is where we get the sequel concept to Bush confidence. Nipple confidence.
It's because of her nipples. You're so right. She has nipple confidence.
But Jenny's shocked by nipple confidence. She's also shocked by the fact that she only sees women at this party, which is weird because this has happened like 3 times before, and so she flees within 5 minutes of getting there. And that's the end of part 1. Now part 2. The next day, Jenny is working her new job at the grocery store. Marina stops by. This woman's tracking her or something. And Jenny apologizes for running from her at the party. Marina invites Jenny to a reading group. Jenny asks Marina if this is a gay group, but Marina says no. That night, Jenny and Tim host a couple of Tim's friends at their place. They talk about card games, which prompts Tim to playfully accuse Jenny of being a cheater. She responds to that just how a totally innocent person would.
I am not a cheater. Tim likes to say that I'm a cheater because Tim is always losing, right, Tim?
The guests invite them to join their game group for couples, but it conflicts with the not gay book club meeting, so unfortunately Jenny and Tim can't go. At Bet and Tina's house, Bet tries to spend time with Tina, but Tina wants to exercise instead. At this point, the sperm donor search is really wearing them down and affecting their relationship. Jenny and Marina go to the book club meeting, and it goes well. Jenny is not even thinking about lesbian sex right now. Meanwhile, Tina's just finished at the gym. She's in the locker room when that spin instructor walks in naked and flirts with her, inviting her to be one of her private clients. Totally normal. The next night, Tim and Jenny and their hetero friends go out to a fancy restaurant. And what a coincidence! Of course, the girls also decide to eat out at the exact same restaurant. Small town, that Los Angeles. All the heteros spot Marina and start loudly talking about how hot she is. Honestly, to this day, I don't really get what's supposed to be so attractive about Marina. Spoiler alert, she's not even going to be in the series for very long. But literally everything she does is so sexually loaded.
Come on, I want to see you check me out. There you are.
I'm just waiting for the washroom.
You look cute with the little apron on.
To me, people like that are super exhausting to be around. Like, seriously, not everything has to be about sex and flirtation. Just shut up already and let me enjoy my coffee in peace. Anyway, the next time Marina goes to the restroom, Jenny follows her in. She confronts Marina about being distracting, but confesses immediately after.
I'd like to see you again.
The next morning, Tim finds Jenny up and writing already. They talk about how Jenny's still not feeling secure where she is yet. Wonder why that is. Right on cue, Marina calls and invites Jenny out again. Now Tina and Bet have another therapy appointment. Just a heads up, this whole next chunk of the episode is going to be all about them. Tina's there alone, again, because Bet is late. Again. But she says she has a really good excuse this time, and she starts rattling on about the next potential donor she's found, and all Tina has to do is meet the guy tomorrow and sign off all the paperwork and go straight to the cryobank with him, and honestly, Beth spends way more time proving why she needs therapy than she ever does actually benefiting from it. Tina's getting real tired of Beth making all these decisions without her, and who could blame her? But she still gives the new guy a chance regardless. The next day, the guy, Marcus, visits Tina while she's home alone, and she is utterly shocked to discover that Marcus is black. Also, he's tall. Marcus asks Tina if Beth didn't tell her he was black. She says no, but she swears it's no problem, and they go to the cryobank right then and there. Luckily, Marcus is a total professional about the whole situation. He's not trying to have sex with anybody or whine about paternal rights. He just kindly fills out the paperwork and goes to the back to extract his sample for Tina. But the second he's out of earshot, the nurse at the front desk immediately freaks out to Tina about how big Marcus is, and she tells Tina she's looking at a C-section. Why would she do that? After that, Tina goes to the planet. Beth meets her there, and Tina's like, I'd have liked to discuss having a black donor beforehand, and Beth's like, but we did though. And then Tina's like, but I don't feel qualified to parent a black child, and they're already going to have 2 moms. I mean, all that's going to be a lot for a kid in 2004. So they take it back to Dan Foxworthy, and Dan Foxworthy suggests that Tina's reaction to Marcus felt to Beth like a rejection of her identity. Now Beth seems to doubt that they're ready for a child at all. But later, Beth finds a positive ovulation test in the bathroom. Wait, now I'm confused. How much time has gone by? I had to Google it. Apparently, women can ovulate up to 3 times a month in some cases. But damn, I thought her last egg died like 2 days ago. Girl's a straight up chicken.
So, in retrospect, that was most likely a negative ovulation test. I can't pay attention that hard all the time, guys. But my question still stands. What the fucking day is it?
But Beth's still upset about what happened the day before, and she finally goes to visit Kit. She tells her about what Tina said, to which Kit says,
she's not looking at a black woman or a white woman. She's looking at the woman she loves.
She sees what she wants to see.
Maybe she sees what you let her see. Maybe this wasn't important before. Maybe...
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. Just maybe it's been easier for you that way. Maybe what's worked best for you all these years, getting all your pretty things and, putting together your pretty life, is that you let people see what they want to see.
That's nice. That's really nice.
I guess the implication here is that Kit thinks that Beth has de-emphasized her own blackness throughout her whole relationship with Tina, so maybe Tina couldn't have known just how important it was to Beth that the donor be black. It's still a little confusing to me, but it's an interesting conversation, and it gives us a glimpse into the many ways that Kit and Beth have very different life experiences despite being sisters. Later, Beth hosts another artist giving a talk at the museum. Tina attends, and there's a guy sitting next to her who says,
"You're really beautiful."
It's creepy. But somehow he gets the 2 of them to talk to him after the presentation, and for some reason they consider having a threesome with him. I'm sorry, what? Beth just drops all her usual terms and conditions for a donor right there. He's not black, they don't even know if he's a good artist or not. They are officially that desperate. Cut to the planet.
Now she's cute.
We haven't seen Dana in a while. Let's see what she's doing.
Fresh meat.
New blood. Crispy.
Yep, still no game. Marina and Jenny meet up, they go outside, and then they go inside, and then they get all up in each other. Meanwhile, Beth and Tina get ready for their threesome.
Just look at me, okay?
She says like they're about to get straight up tortured.
Tina, why don't you make that wet?
Seriously, can you do it? I don't know how. I love how Beth's role in this is just strictly logistics. She's just mechanically taking the guy's belt off and avoiding eye contact. But then he wants to do Beth before he does Tina. Uh-oh. The girls blow their cover when they try to get him to do Tina first without a condom instead, which pisses him off.
Why is it whenever dykes want to have sex with a guy, it's only because they're trying to steal his sperm?
He says it as if that's not the only reason why a dyke would want to sleep with him. I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it should be obvious. Dana and Alice are still at the planet. They're talking about how they are never, ever going to have sex with each other. Never in a million years. And you know what? I bet they won't. Jenny leaves the party and cries and drools. She's officially in too deep with Marina. probably shouldn't have had sex with her in retrospect. She climbs in bed with Tim, who's none the wiser. Now Dana's at Alice's place, and here's where we get our first look at one of the most iconic symbols of the L word, the chart. We're going to see the chart a lot through the series. See, this is how Alice knows who's getting with who at all times. She's obsessively tracking this on a whiteboard in her apartment. She claims she can use the chart to connect every lesbian in the LA scene to any other lesbian just by following who's hooked up with who. She demonstrates this by connecting herself to Dana, showing only 4 degrees of separation between them. 4 degrees? Now that's a small gap. Would be a shame if somebody closed it. And then we pan up to see the entire original chart behind Alice in all its handwritten, psychopathic glory. In the morning, Jenny wakes up to find Tim making breakfast, and then he proposes to her. She does not look excited. Meanwhile, Shane's just walking by Bet and Tina's house. They're out on the porch, and Shane can smell that they had sex last night and calls them out on it.
That gives me hope, because I love knowing that 2 people who've been together for so long can still make each other that happy.
It is nice, isn't it, Shane? Bet and Tina give me so much hope, too. I mean, they've only had about 10 arguments in the past 2 episodes, and they tried to steal a man's sperm together. If that's not goals, I don't know what is. Anyway, that's the end of the pilot. After this pilot, the L Word was destined to become the newest powerhouse program at Showtime and leave its mark on LGBT television history. And if anybody even sees this video, I'd love to keep talking about it. So if you'd like me to continue, please speak up in the comments. And you can also let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my takes, especially if you can explain that Kit and Beck conversation to me, because I'm still not sure I completely got it. But anyway, that's it for now. See you next time.